Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel, and welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. Um, Hopefully, you are finding the content useful, helpful, and all that good stuff. We're going to run through a couple of indicators that you're too hard on yourself. Being too hard on ourselves is a major problem, especially in Western culture, in the sense that we have objectives that often are counterproductive to our overall growth and development. In other words, goals are a great idea, but goals that are overly ambitious or don't allow room for growth on a personal and emotional level can cause problems. And so, what are some common ways that we can know we're being too hard on ourselves? I'm going to run through about 5 or 6 of those today, and hopefully, if you're dealing with this, I do life and business coaching, and if you're dealing with this issue, I encourage you to find a coach that you can work through so you learn what your triggers are, and also learn how to be a little bit kinder to yourself, because when you're kind to yourself, you're kinder to others, and the pressure is less, and overall, you enjoy life. And even if you're here for 100 years, it's still worthy to enjoy life and worth it to look at better ways to enjoy life or different ways to enjoy life, because quite honestly, we all have our challenges in that area, right? Especially now during the pandemic and all those other challenges. So anyway, uh, one way to know that you might be being too hard on yourself is self-blame. Now, self-blame is when you continually go over the same issues repeatedly and you fixate on your mistakes, your misgivings, your misunderstandings, or the ways in which you could have behaved or performed better. Now, taking personal responsibility is a good idea. Personal responsibility, both for the positive and negative things that we do, is part of adulthood, it's part of maturity, and certainly something that we all need to do. However, repetitive thinking about what went wrong and how you could have been a better person, a better partner, a better friend, a better employee, and it becomes obsessive or compulsive in nature, that's where self blame enters, and it doesn't serve anybody. Actually, chances are, if you're in the process of self blaming, you will hinder your own development and growth, because at the end of the day, you're only looking for the feeling of, hey, I feel like I've earned the right to enjoy this or that. And you may never give yourself permission, which honestly means, especially in personal relationships as well as work dynamics, that you may be miserable for months or years at a time unnecessarily. The next thing is when we set out to accomplish too much. Goals are wonderful, and certainly as a life and business coach, I encourage people to have 3 types of goals: short range, medium range, and long range goals. Obviously, short range, things that can be accomplished in a week or two, medium range, things that can be accomplished in a few months, and then long range are things that take a year or longer. And goals are extremely valuable. But time management is important, and also the realization that time for reflection and celebration of the things that we have accomplished is essential to mental and emotional health. And so, often because of pressures from friends or family or a partner, we put too much on our own plate, and then we get disappointed, if not dejected and or self-loathing, when we don't accomplish what we set out to do, because we set out to accomplish too much. When we build in the celebratory nature of, hey, I did this, let me take a few hours, let me take a day and really celebrate this and enjoy this, that gives ourselves time to recharge to handle the next task efficiently, effectively, and appropriately. And so when we don't do that, ultimately problems can arise. Another thing where people are very commonly negatively motivated is not receiving compliments. So, a couple of things about compliments. Number one, a genuine compliment is hard to find. So many people are trying to survive, they're trying to get over, they're trying to get around, they're trying to impress another person, they're trying to be overly kind, they're trying to gain leverage and influence people. There's a bunch of reasons that people give compliments, many of them not genuine. And so there's challenges when accepting a compliment in general, because, well, how do you know if a person is giving a genuine compliment or not? And maybe at some point I'll do an audio on that. But it's suffice to say, uh, knowing when a good compliment is coming is often difficult, especially if you've been in a toxic or abusive relationship, or if you've been in a situation where you've been taken for granted or something like that. But equally dangerous and somewhat um, negative is not being able to take a compliment. Look, if a person goes out of their way to give you a compliment, if we take them at face value and say there's value in their words, then saying thank you and moving forward is a great way um, to proceed, because number one, you're not invalidating the person that's given the compliment. Even if you don't see what they're saying as true, their effort to say it has value. And when we devalue a compliment by saying, "Oh no, that's not true. Oh no, you're exaggerating," we're also devaluing the person's opinion and devaluing the person's influence in our life. And so even if it's at a place where you don't believe it, somebody else believes it, and that has value. And when we don't take compliments, or when we devalue compliments, we're actually devaluing the relationship as a whole, which can be exceptionally problematic. Um, Let me see here. The next concept that is worth looking into is when we dismiss our own ideas or the ideas of others. Look, everything that we have now, from cell phones to computers to social media to uh, forms of music, forms of art, somebody has an idea. Somebody has a concept. They have a vision. They have a focal point that they put time and energy into. And that's going to happen with you too, because you were created with your own mind, your own ability to choose, your own preferences, your own creativity, your own ability to utilize that creativity and bring it to life and do some awesome things. But when you dismiss your own ideas as unworthy, and we all do it from time to time, and especially the more public your idea is, or the more potential for ridicule or criticism there is to an idea, the more likely we are to uh, downplay it, the more likely we are to negatively associate that it's a dumb idea, or an idea that's ineffective, or an idea that won't take off, or give ourselves negative self talk about it. So at the end of the day, the reality of the situation is when we dismiss our own ideas, we take away the benefit of the idea becoming a reality, and that could affect literally tens, hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people, depending on how big the idea is and how successful it is. So when we dismiss our own ideas, we're being too hard on ourselves, because remember, every idea and everything that we have now started as an idea, and if a person doesn't follow through their ideas, they are cutting off progress from the world. And so dismissing your own ideas, really not a good concept to be involved with. uh, the next one is dwelling on our own mistakes. Look, we all make mistakes, and so my basic philosophy when I work with clients is we're all equally teachers and students. That is, we all learn, and we all have knowledge we can dispel and teach others. And so when we make a mistake, it's one of the best opportunities to learn and grow as a person, right? When we make a misstep, it's an opportunity to say, hey, I didn't know this, or I didn't look at it this way, or I need to expand my vision here, or I need to be more open minded here or there. And so mistakes, where society teaches that we have to be perfect, and that's the root cause of a lot of anxiety for people, and OCD, and all these other unhealthy and sometimes toxic emotional imbalances. uh, Mistakes actually are valuable, because when we fail, if we fail forward and we learn, then we grow. When we fail and we fall backwards and we dwell on, oops, I failed, we're really devaluing the value of the moment. We're devaluing the value of the gift of life we've been given. Look, you are going to fail. I can tell you, the first time I did broadcasting as a teenager, I was objectively a failure, but I got through it. And that was the thing. I survived. I can go back to that, back when we had videotapes. There's a whole generation of kids that don't even know what a videotape is these days, but that's a whole different audio. Um, but anyway, so I can go back and listen to that tape and be like, cringe, and right, and be miserable, because I'm like, this is horrible. But I look at the fact that that was, you know, uh, 22, 23 years ago, and it's like, wow, how far I've come in almost a quarter century, and the person I am. But if I dwell on the mistakes of what happened on that one day or any one day, I won't move forward. I won't grow to be the person that I'm in the process of becoming. And as long, and this is important, so I'll say this twice, as long as you are living and breathing, you are becoming. As long as you are living and breathing, you are becoming something. And hopefully, it's a better version of yourself. And if you're on the self discovery or self improvement journey, it is a better version of yourself. And even if you're not, you're still a better version of yourself, even if you're not aware that that's what you're striving to become. So there's value in that as well. Um, the last thing I want to talk about is not giving yourself breaks or times to celebrate. I think we touched on this before, but I want to close with it as well. Look, we are only able to focus on one concept for somewhere between 30 to 90 minutes, depending on the person. Persons with ADD, ADHD, and other hyperactivity disorders, they're closer to a maximum of 30 minutes. Persons with intense concentration ability, they usually max out at about 90 minutes. So there's a window of time that we can focus on any one task or any group of tasks. Taking a break for 15 to 30 minutes every, let's say, 60 minutes is valuable, or every 90 minutes is valuable, because it allows you to recharge. It allows you to take distance from whatever you're working on, and ultimately become more efficient, effective, focused, driven, and goal orientated. A lot of people think they're tougher if they take no breaks. They're more committed if they take no breaks. That's hogwash that honestly is going to lead you down a path of burnout. And seeing a talented person burn out is something I've seen literally thousands of times. It makes me sad because it doesn't have to be that way, but so many people punish themselves, and they think if I take a break, it's a sign of weakness. If I take a break, it's a sign of lack of commitment. And that's not true. Taking a break is a sign of self-care. It's also a sign that you respect what you're doing, because you want to be at your best when you're doing it. And so there's value in that as well. That will close off this audio. Till next time, I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.